Clemens, near side, and he's got a completion. There's Keenan Allen, who's going to slip inside the 15, down near the 13-yard line. It'll bring up an injured player, an injured Charger, back behind the line of scrimmage.
Just, we talked about the offensive line, the injuries. This is Joe Barksdale, their right tackle. Very solid football player. And the Chargers, we just mentioned DJ Fluker, the right guard. He's in a protective boot with his foot. Now Joe Barksdale down.
He's the only player on that line to start every game last year. They tend to Barksdale. Hope he's okay. We're back to Minnesota in a moment.
Here's a look at that last play. Joe Barksdale engaged with Brian Robinson, but his own teammate, Orlando Franklin, going to fall on that left knee, and it doesn't look good. The good news, Joe Barksdale walked off the field. A lot of interested and concerned folks on the San Diego Chargers sideline.
So Chris Hairston, number 75, fourth-year player from Clemson, out at right tackle now at a 3rd and 10. Clemens going far side. Allen almost made a spectacular grab, a little too far in front, and now a field goal try.
I tell you what, Kevin, I've been thoroughly impressed. Fox, we usually cover the NFC teams. We watch the whole league, but I hadn't really done a big study on the Chargers in a while. Keenan Allen, he's a true number one receiver. They've got a big-time receiver on their hand, very sudden. He does everything well. He's very strong. He's just everything you want in a number one, and they've got a heck of a player in Keenan Allen.
Here's Josh Lambo. A good rookie season for the Chargers last year. Good strong leg, and that one is through. 32-yard field goal for Lambo, and extends the Chargers' lead to 10-6. Here in the second quarter, 2:28 to go in the half. Well, college football is back on FS1. All kicks off with a special Friday night edition when Heisman hopeful Christian McCaffrey leads 8th-ranked Stanford against K-State. It all begins Friday night at 8 Eastern on FS1. I know one guy watching. It'll be my partner, John Lynch.
I'll be watching that. Hopefully this year they get it right. Gives Christian McCaffrey his Heisman. Should have had it last year.
You could just put Stanford on the East Coast for a while so everyone else could see him play. That might help. John, people affected by severe weather and other disasters need help right now. So to support those impacted by disasters like the floods in Louisiana and countless other crises, please text Red Cross to 90999 and give $10 immediately to American Red Cross Disaster Relief. As we are in Minneapolis today, they've had a couple events here in this new stadium. They had a couple concerts and they had a soccer match, but this is the first football game here, and it's going to be fun for this team. It's just a gorgeous place. The players were all so jazzed up about it. Coaches were. Talked to Mike Zimmer. So now they got to play good football to go with it. Kickoff return by Minnesota. Sherrills who takes it. And he's out across the 20-yard line, and that's where the Vikings will take over. Well, we told you about the clear roof, which is fantastic. It allows the sun in. It's the largest of any kind. 5 of the largest pivoting doors in the world, John. They're 95 feet tall. And I'm not sure where there are other pivoting doors, but I know they're cool. I mean, and what they're going to do with those doors, it's very much like a retractable roof, and they can definitely change the wind and things like that coming in. So they have to make a call 90 minutes before the game whether to open them or close them. Today they're closed. Bridgewater's still in the game for the Vikings, and they're going to run it on first down to Asiata.
It brings me back to the old school when Bill Parcells with the Jets and the Giants. Those pivoting doors, I don't know if they pivoted, but he'd open them up whenever we were kicking. I know that.
Game-winning field goal. Those doors might open real quick. 2nd and 5 for Bridgewater. Near side to Charles Johnson, who's got the catch. That'll be a first down for Minnesota. That'll be a 2-minute warning for us. 10-6, San Diego in front.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach.
Good atmosphere here as they open the new U.S. Bank Stadium, and Mike Zimmer leading the charge with this Vikings team that, well, some feel can be a Super Bowl contender. They won 11 games last year. Bridgewater back, and he's going to go down for a sack. He had a lot of time that time, but just couldn't find anybody.
You know, that's one thing that you worry about, and it looks like he was looking for Adam Thielen going deep, and they're going to get illegal contact. But one of those deep shots we were talking about, I promise you, they want to get that involved. That's what he was looking for, and the illegal contact, I believe, made Teddy Bridgewater hold on to the ball.
There's no foul on the play for illegal contact. The contact occurred simultaneously as the quarterback was being sacked. 2nd down.
Well, what you're talking about, and we've been discussing, Bridgewater throwing it downfield, at least just taking shots, giving the defense something to think about. Here's what we're doing. You look at it, and anything over 30 yards, they just haven't had any kind of remote success. But I also don't think they've tried it enough either.
I don't think they've tried it enough, and I think also, we mentioned earlier how much under duress Teddy Bridgewater was last year, and to throw deep, you need time.
Yeah.
And you know, but as I said earlier, with Adrian Peterson, people are getting as many people up close to the line of scrimmage to stop him. So it's there. They need to make it part of their game, I believe, to take that next step offensively and be an explosive offense.
How about watching Bridgewater today? You like what you've seen?
I really like what I think his fundamentals have tightened up. His feet, he used to be a little loose with those. He's tightened up some of those. You know, Alex Boone talked to us about, we asked him what he loved. He said, I love that he's the calmest guy on the field. And you need that out of your quarterback. And he's able to be calm and still show that fire. He's a great leader. I think this is going to be a special year for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I think, we did a lot of Vikings games late last year. We talked to a ton of their personnel. I think it's pretty obvious he's got the leadership qualities. He can handle the position. Now it's just about production.
And I love, and he loves, how his coach, Mike Zimmer, has had his back from the beginning.
Second and long. Here comes a stunt. Bridgewater. Good pass over the middle to Johnson. A beauty at midfield and into San Diego territory. It's a hookup of 19 yards.
Now, this isn't 30 yards down the field, but that's a down-the-field pass. The dig route that Norv Turner has made such a big part of his offense. You have to be able to throw it, and Teddy Bridgewater just did it with perfection.
Minute 30 to go. 2 timeouts for the Vikings in their 2-minute O here. And this one a deep out to Diggs. And that's good for a catch. So back-to-back, there's your shots down the field. And that's another nice throw and a gain of 22.
Well, again, to do this, you need the protection. The protection's great. Stephon Diggs, like I said, he can beat you underneath, but he can also beat you up top. And that's just a beautifully thrown ball with some touch by Teddy Bridgewater. Great protection there. Enough time to step up in the pocket, and that's what I believe Teddy Bridgewater can do when given the time.
2 timeouts for the Vikes. First down. Bridgewater fires over the middle. It's caught by the tight end, Rudolph, and a touchdown. Those were some throws by Bridgewater.
I talked about earlier, to become a more explosive scoring offense, I think Kyle Rudolph, we saw at the end of last year, Teddy Bridgewater started trusting. He's not always, he doesn't separate tremendously. He's not always going to look wide open, but much like Antonio Gates, you throw that guy the ball, he'll use that big body to shield guys, and he'll catch it.
John, they're going to go for 2 here. That temporary rule last year has stuck now. Of course, all the extra points kicked from the 15 and 2-point conversions. And this is a live ball. Remember, you can return this defensively. Asiata on the give. No. Comes up short. Chargers stacked them up. Might as well go for 2 and practice the play in preseason. That's what Mike Zimmer doing there.
Take a look at this protection. You're going to get the ball downfield. You better have protection. And there it is. Tremendous protection. Teddy Bridgewater stands tall. And then Kyle Rudolph. Little shake route right down the seam. Monty Teo almost has it, but Bridgewater shows the trust in Kyle Rudolph. And Rudolph says, that's why you trust me, Teddy. I'll catch it.
Bridgewater didn't play last week, had some shoulder injuries, so Mike Zimmer rested him for a few days in practice, and there was obviously concern here in Minnesota, but he told us Friday, I'm fine. And if you didn't believe it, that last drive pretty much showed you.
No, that's a good sight for, and I get you back to the point about him. Teddy Bridgewater's back. He's been a little prickly with the press, Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
But I think he's tired of people beating up on Teddy Bridgewater. We came with the graphic about how much he wins. And Zimmer will tell you this isn't about style points. It's about winning. But he will add, though, that in terms of style points, he thinks Teddy's going to start showing people this year. With the protection, things are really going to start to develop. And I love the way that Zimmer has had his quarterbacks back. And that's not lost on Teddy Bridgewater.
Agreed. 27-yard touchdown to Kyle Rudolph. It was a 6-play drive for the Vikings. And they will kick it off to Oliver. Brandon Oliver is going to be cut down shy of the 20-yard line. Troy Studemeyer with a nice play on the special teams tackle. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. And so the Chargers will have a minute 13 and all 3 timeouts left as they try to run their 2-minute offense with Kellen Clemens, the backup quarterback, leading a charge now. One ball game. 3rd week of the preseason. 12-10 Vikings. On first down, it's Clemens. Throws far side. It's complete to Williams. And a toss down to the ground, and there's a penalty flag. Trey Waynes on the coverage and potentially the penalty, too.
That's a good call by the officials. That's something that's been in the rule book for a couple years. You can't pick a guy and throw him to the ground. But I can tell you, I don't think Mike Zimmer would be mad with that. He wants a little more aggression from Trey Waynes.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 24. 15-yard penalty. The end of first down.
John Hussey's mic breaking up a little bit, but he's explaining exactly what John told you. And look, the penalty is certainly the penalty. There are times, it's hard sometimes to bring a guy down. Look, you're a guy that hit people, but sometimes you're in that position. It's kind of a tough thing.
Well, that's something that used to be legal, but I think when you're bringing guys to the ground, oftentimes the head hits the ground, and I promise you that we can find people all they want. They should find the ground. The ground hurts more people in this league than anybody. Yeah. Hard ground, hard surface, and so I think that is a good addition to the rule book. I can't believe I'm talking like this. I'm getting some.
Who am I next to? I gotta go pull up your clips on YouTube and just remind myself.
It's the preseason. I'll get right.
First down. Here's Clemens in the flat. It's Oliver. He gets cut down. No flags on that one. As there's Trey Waynes coming back.
And text from my teammates already.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. John, there you go.
You bring the arms. You shoot them. Good job by Trey Waynes getting him down. He's a big-time player, though. He's got everything you want from the cornerback position. This new breed of corners that are over 6 feet. He runs a 4.340, a very bright future, Trey Waynes has, and Mike Zimmer's going to bring it out of him.
Oh, yeah.
He coaches them hard, as he does all his players, but he also loves his players, and they know that.
John, reminder coming up at halftime. We've got the guys from Houston, Kurt Menefee, Charles Tillman, and Jake Glazer's there, too. We'll give you the updated status on Tony Romo. Of course, the news about his back injury, not good for the Cowboys. We've got the second game of the doubleheader coming up later. It's the Texans and Cardinals football. Back on a Sunday on Fox. Yeah! Going far side, incomplete. Is trying for Benjamin over there, and that'll bring up a third down. With 53 seconds to go in this first half. 12-10 Vikings lead. Minnesota's got a touchdown from Kyle Rudolph and Teddy Bridgewater. Chargers got a 39-yard run from Melvin Gordon on a beauty of an audible by Phillip Rivers. It's been a good game. Usually these third weeks of the preseason, you get some competitive juices flowing.
This is the trial run. You go through a week of preparation. Players are ready. They know they're going to play longer, so you usually get a good effort in this third preseason game.
3rd and 7. Clemens stands in, fires complete. Tyrell Williams with the big strides. And this is a guy whose first NFL catch came late last year against Denver. It went for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and then, Phillip Rivers, everybody I talked to down at Chargers practice, I went down last week, they said Phillip loves him. That's a good thing for a receiver when the quarterback loves you. But Phillip said to us yesterday, look, in practice he's been great. The short amount of reps that he's had during the regular season, can he do it when the lights come on? He's showing that he can.
Clemens going deep, looking for Benjamin, overthrew him. Really no chance there. Mackenzie Alexander, the rookie out of Clemson, second-round draft pick, was nose for nose on the coverage. And so it'll bring up 2nd and 10. Again, all 3 timeouts, 42 seconds to go. Already in field goal range for their kicker, Josh Lambo, although it's a long one. It was Vikings defense. Most of the first-teamers have played for most of this half here this afternoon. Pressure. They set up a screen. Oh, then he slipped. That could have been big. Emmanuel Lemur came over from the Bengals. The linebacker was there on the stop.
Well, you want to add depth, and that's what the good teams do, as you see Oliver hurting. You hope that's just a cramp for Brandon Oliver, because he's a big part of this team, the third running back, but plays those precious reps to take some off Melvin Gordon. But you hope that Brandon Oliver is all right. But Lemur, that's a luxury, bringing in a guy like that who started a lot of games. Remember, Mike Zimmer came from Cincinnati. He was the defensive coordinator. And Lemur's going to help them. Mike McCoy on the field to check on Brandon Oliver.
Yeah, one of the new rules this year, they're trying to clean the field up in these situations. So just the head coach, they don't want really a whole horde around these injured players, just safety issues. So as they work on Oliver and hope that he's okay. We've seen one injury in this game with the right tackle Joe Barksdale going down. Just slipped and went down.
Right away, you see Brandon Oliver in some pain. And, you know, as I look at that, I don't think it happened on the hit at all. I think it when he first went to cut. And you just hope that ankle, everything's all right for Brandon Oliver.
Chargers 10 to their running back with 35 seconds to go in the half. We're back to Minnesota after this. Man, you feel bad for Brandon Oliver, and if you're squeamish, you might want to not look at this replay because we're no doctors, but it certainly looked like one of those non-contact Achilles injuries. If you want to look, you look at the right calf, and it's not pretty, and you'll see the vibration right there. Oh, gosh, that's just feels so bad for him right now. And that's the issue with these preseason games, and that's why even John Harbaugh was saying today, not sure if we need them, and you could always feel like that when you lose a key player.
You know, and then there's the other side of people, and I might be one of them, that maybe guys don't play enough in preseason anymore.
Interesting.
And you know, combined with the year-round training that players are doing on their own, you never give your body a rest, but you're seeing more and more of these lower leg injuries that's very concerning.
This is second Achilles that the Chargers have had in the last, week and a half. They had Jeff Cumberland, their tight end, who they expected big things from, and he had the same injury. I mean, look, we don't know, obviously, but it certainly didn't look great. A third down and long coming for Kellen Clemens. Pressure, steps away, incomplete. He was looking for Dreamus Smith, who came in at running back for Brandon Oliver. So you think that, even though a lot of people think preseason's, I don't want to say a waste of time, you think that actually maybe guys aren't playing enough, and maybe once they get out here, their body isn't used to being hit? And that time was a no-contact injury.
That's a non-contact, but I still think there's nothing like game reps.
Yeah.
And I think for even players in their 14th, 15th years, I felt like I needed some game reps. I didn't need 4 games worth.
Right.
But I wanted some live action to get in that flow before the regular season.
Punch by the Chargers here. And they'll get it down inside the 5 with 21 seconds to go. Likely take a knee, and that will take us to the half. And so Teddy Bridgewater will come up. Might as well practice the kneel down. That's part of the whole quarterbacking routine, too. I'm sure this will probably be the last to see of Teddy, but you never know. He's had a good first half, 12 of 16, 160 yards and a touchdown.
I've been impressed with the way Teddy Bridgewater has looked, and more impressed with the way they've protected him. And remember, they're doing this without their left tackle, Matt Khalil, who's a big part of what they're going to do. But I think they've upgraded this offensive line, which will help Teddy Bridgewater a ton.
There's the knee. There is the half. And a good one, an exciting one. First football played here at the new stadium in Minneapolis for these Vikings. It's a new home. And it's looked good, and so have the Vikings in this first half. Down to the sidelines with Pam Oliver.
Mike McCoy, obviously we got a couple of injured players. What can you tell me about Oliver and Barksdale?
We'll get an update when we go in. Joe thought he could go back in there, but we kept him out by my choice, and then I'll get an update on Brandon when I get inside.
What do you think of the play in the first half? What did you like that you saw?
Well, I like the big touchdown run from Bell, without a doubt. That was great for him. It was a great check by Phillip against the pressure they were bringing. The defense creating the turnover. We got to a slow start defensively that first drive, but they held them at field goals the first 2 series in there, so that was a positive.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Back to you.
Cam, thanks very much. Yeah, it's just a shame. There's some good things you said, but the 2 injuries and Oliver's did not look good. But good to have a football as the Vikings had a couple big plays, and they've got a 12-10 lead as we got halftime with Kurt, Charles, and Jay coming your way next.
Their new stadium in Minnesota with a halftime lead. Teddy Bridgewater to Pro Bowl tight end Kyle Rudolph. And it's 12-10 Vikings on top of the Chargers at halftime. As we come to you from Houston, Texas, where we'll have game 2 of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. The Arizona Cardinals take on the Houston Texans. This also the site of Super Bowl 51, which will be on Fox in February. Come on in here and stay a while, folks. I'm Kurt Menefee alongside a guy you may not recognize the face, but you certainly know the name. Charles Tillman, 13 years in the National Football League, most with the Chicago Bears. Wrapped up his career with the Carolina Panthers last season. You know him for everything, including Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, and being a guy who forced a lot of turnovers. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. I got to say, it feels a little weird being on this side of the ball. You know, we came into the stadium, I got my suit on, and I went to a green room instead of a locker room. So I'm still trying to get used to that.
Your body will feel a lot better on Mondays after doing TV than
I hope
playing
so.
football.
I hope so.
All right, let's go from our newest addition to his favorite new additions around the National Football League as we go into 2016.
Number 5 on my top additions list is Robert Griffin III, who joins the Browns looking for a rebound season. He will take the helm of a team that has already gone through 24 QBs since 1999. At number 4 is Miami defensive end Mario Williams, who stays within the division moving from Buffalo to the Dolphins. Last year he struggled a little bit with just 5 sacks, but I still think he can rush the passer with the best of them. Number 3 is New York Jets running back Matt Forte. The shifty runner who spent his first 8 seasons in Chicago has definitely earned his nickname nickname the workhorse. He has 5 career 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and I see him doing the same thing with the Jets. Number 2, Houston quarterback Brock Osweiler. He got the big payday for only playing in 8 games last season with Denver. The Texans had 4 different starting quarterbacks in 2015, and I'm thinking Osweiler can be the guy in Houston. And my number 1 top addition for this season is Washington Redskins cornerback Josh Norman. He was clearly the best cornerback in the league last year and received a hefty paycheck to go along with it.
Okay, so we'll see Osweiler play in the game here later on today as the Houston Texans host Arizona. But you played with Josh Norman last season in Carolina. How do you think he's going to do up in Washington?
I think he'll do okay. He doesn't have the same supporting cast, doesn't have the great D-line, the great linebackers, and most of all, the DB coach Steve Wilkes. He doesn't have those guys, but hopefully he can reproduce what he did last season.
All right, you'll hear more insight like that from Charles Tillman as he contributes to us here at Fox Sports, primarily on Fox NFL Kickoff, 11 a.m. on Sundays. When we come back, we'll get you all set for the Texans and Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald giving hugs to Jay Glazer, who will be with us to give us the latest on the injury to Tony Romo and that bad back. Stick around. Halftime continues.
and he's got some great targets, and he found them in the first half. And then I think if you're the San Diego Chargers, like Mike McCoy said, you got to love what you. Saw from Melvin Gordon. A great check by Phillip Rivers, but Melvin Gordon showed this. Speed showed the burst that everybody was so high on last year, and a lot.
Gordon done for the day. The running back is Dreamus Smith. He's a first-year back from West Virginia.
Football. Well, Kevin, you talked earlier. We asked. Harrison Smith, what's the next step for this defense? He said it's all about creating. More turnovers, and they're off to a good start. And he talked about fumbles. Trateau strips that arm just like you're supposed to.
Defense number 49. Contact to the head area. The ruling on the field is a fumble, recovered for a touchdown. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Well, that was a wild play, and it goes down as a touchdown because Patterson got the fumble. Recovery.
Now watch Ben Gardner come off the edge.
So 20-10, Minnesota with the fumble recovery touchdown, the two-pointer to Treadwell. On the jump ball, the Vikings up by 10.
Today's game on sponsored by Sully. The untold story behind the Miracle on the Hudson in theaters September 9th. And by Cadillac.
Have come out. Andy Reid said the other day that he thinks it could be a trend. That's going to pick up a couple for Dreamus Smith. So the rule we're talking about is we look at the special teams unit for Minnesota. This is in the preseason. Last year, first couple weeks, you see the touchbacks, and then this year they're down. Not because the kickers can't reach the end zone anymore because they're trying to pop it up.
Well, what got me, I was in Denver doing their first preseason game, and Brandon McManus, who has a history of kicking them out of the end zone, he's chipping them up. So I'm going, there's something to this. And as I've talked to the special teams coaches, that is their plan going into the year.
We saw Mike Pereira, our rules expert. We'll get to him. After this play as a completion.
And to me, he's clear. It up for me to a great degree because the element of time really has to do with real time, watching the play in real time at the same speed that the officials watch it. And if it's a bang play, so if it's something that the officials look at in real time and it's not clear that the receiver has control 2 feet and time to turn upfield to ward off contact, then they're going to go incomplete and replay is going to stay with that. So I think the
All right, so that's good stuff. And I think the catch thing is, I think it's hard. You know, it used to be back in the day, just 2 feet, but it's obvious. Obviously, the slow-mo cameras and the instant replay has changed, and that's why I think. I like what he said about real time and bang play. You know, if it doesn't look right, it shouldn't be a catch.
That's right.
Troy Studemeyer back to return the punt. And he slipped. Some falls. And he's out to the 15-yard. Line. That's where Minnesota will take over. 10:17 to go in the third. It's the Vikings. This is a look inside the Vikings' new locker room here, and it is huge. It is gorgeous as you would expect. Maybe a little different, John, even though you just got done playing a little bit ago. But this is spacious, and a lot of room for the players. Now watch the offensive linemen on the left. They're all laughing because on the right, that guy, Alex Boone.
There's Alex Boone, Mr. Personality, giving him a hard time. I'm telling you, you need guys like that in the locker room. Alex Boone going to be a great addition on the field. And off the Minnesota Vikings.
Joel Stave is the new quarterback for Minnesota, the rookie from Wisconsin.
These are available, as Mike McCoy said, opportunities of a lifetime for some of these other guys.
Yeah, and we get a penalty on the play.
This is on infraction. Defense number 58. Five-yard penalty. Third down.
So that'll move Minnesota just a little bit closer. That's on Torrick Williams as Mike Zimmer looking on. All good defenses under his instruction. Finally, after 35 years, the Vikings gave him a chance. And the organization is trending upwards since he's been here.
He's doing a tremendous job. He's a leader of men. He's tough on these. That's what being a punt returner in the NFL is all about.
During the return, blocking the back receiving team number 34. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, you could hear that crowd. Back up here. Unbelievable.
Big contacts. Chargers penalties on them. Their football, though, down by 10.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Verizon. Join the Better Network because better matters.
The run, automatic, first down.
And I know there's a lot of layers to it, and a lot of people say, hey, put in a good product and we'll vote for something like this.
Right.
But, I think there's such a great sense between the community, the team, the community. And what it does for a city, bringing people to San Diego. Super Bowl's coming every year. It's the greatest tourism advertising you can ever do.
Listen, I mean, the NFL and the Chargers are putting in $650 million, and you're saying, okay, well, where's the rest coming from? It's not coming from taxpayers. It's all coming from a hotel tax that essentially equates to this: if you're a tourist or a visitor, hotel room for $300. You're paying an extra $13 a night. That builds a stadium. It's going to be downtown on the convention center if they can get it done, but they need a 2/3 vote. As a 1st and 10 for lot of distractions for a team that's trying to rebound from a bad year. Not easy.
No, head coach's job, though, is to say, hey, yes, there's noise out there, but we can only focus on who's here, what's here. He's doing his best to do that, but it's been an uphill climb.
3rd down and 2. It's Smith, and Smith fights. Forward, but I believe he's going to be a little shy of this 1st down here. And obviously Mike McCoy will want to go and keep that offense out on the field.
This is at that point of the field where you're out just outside field goal range. You aren't going to punt. In the preseason, let's test these guys. Let's put them in pressure situations and see who can respond.
Fourth and 1, and they will run it in. They're not going to get it. Sticked up by the Minnesota defensive line. Toby. to 10, Vikings lead the Chargers with 4:38 to go in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota football, 1st and 10 from their own 39. Joel Stave, rookie from Wisconsin, is at quarterback. Back to throw, coming near side, and he's got a completion to Jarius Wright. Yeah, good looking throw from the rookie for a 1st down.
Well, as I watched the film, there's a lot to like about Stave. He's got the big stature, 6'5", 230. I think he displayed some mobility. He also showed a lot to be very adept at these touch passes, kind of fitting it over the linebackers. There he hits Jarius Wright. I like what I see from Stave.
Jarius Wright has been battling some injuries in this camp. He's got some good NFL experience, but they've got some receivers this year. Does Minnesota, as Ham gets the carry. Stave will be the 3rd quarterback on this team. Teddy Bridgewater is the starter, and he had himself a really nice day in the debut in his new home stadium. And this guy was 8 for 8 in the second quarter, made throw after throw. Overall 16, or make that 12 of 16.
Jump in your game. What are you most excited about as far as your game goes?
You know, just being a complete leader. You know, whether it's commanding the guys in the huddle, around the locker room, and just having fun. At the end of the day, you have to have fun. And obviously, when you're winning, you know, you have the most fun. So, you know, you want to have that winner's mindset around here. You know, the guys come out today, you know, flying around, offensive line, moving around, moving guys. Did a great job in the run game today. We're going to clean some things up in the red zone. We know that field goals don't always win games in this league, so. You know, just having fun, coming out every day. It's exciting.
I thought you juked the linebacker there. Didn't know you had moves like that, huh?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Don't sweat on my.
Couple moves. Just a couple. Just a couple.
Okay.
Well, next, the NFL preseason continues on Fox. Two of the best in the game squaring off It's Carson Palmer and the Cardinals colliding with DeAndre Hopkins and the Texans. And, of course, their new quarterback, Brock Osweiler. It's next on Fox, so you can watch it on the app, Fox Sports Go. Arizona was great. They lost in the title game to Carolina. Houston hasn't had stability at the starting quarterback in a while, 8 different ones since 2013. So that's why they paid Brock Osweiler a heaping chest of cash.
They did. It's so important to have that position. Houston's one of those teams. The AFC is wide open. Houston's one of those teams who wants to lay claim to it.
New quarterback for the Chargers, it's Mike Berkovich. Who is coming on, the rookie from Arizona State, and you talked earlier how they brought in Zach Mettenberger trying to compete for the 2 job. I think he's going to win the 3 job. He's got a little boxy to him. He played pretty well last week in their second preseason game.
Look, he's a college free agent, but all I know, when I was out at Chargers Park, everybody kept raving about him. He's a fighter. He makes good decisions. He's smaller. He's 6 feet. I seem to remember a quarterback out of San Diego who started his career there at about 6 feet, who turned into a pretty good player, though, in Drew Brees. So.
I think they have an idea how that usually works. That'll take us to the end of the third quarter. Here from Minneapolis. Been a fun afternoon. Football is back. And that guy took a lot of time to put on makeup, put on the mask, but he's happy. His Vikings in front by 10 after 3. Cool shot. The fans down in the field level suites here at U.S. Bank Stadium. $1.1 billion, and it looks it. It's great. First football game here. They had 2 concerts. They had a soccer match, and getting excited for a Vikings season. We've got a 10-point lead over the Chargers. And that time stacking up on the run play on a third down. Looks like they're going to force a punt.
Really good team defense there. And that's the thing that happens when you play great defense in a place. The standard carries on to the second. To the thirds. They're growing the depth here. They're coming at Emmanuel Lemur will be a backup, but has starter reps elsewhere. They've got a lot of guys on this defense that can play some serious football. I'm excited to see this Vikings defense develop and to really
out in the flat, and he's a completion to Smith, and that'll be good for a first down. And so Wisenhunt went to Tennessee, head coach there. They fired him in the middle of 2015, so they bring him back, and they're expecting. Look, they did some good things on offense last year, but they're expecting to take another level.
And I think one of Ken Wisenhunt's strengths, and you see he was here in 2013, as you said, last time they made the playoffs. And one of his strengths is he plays to the talents of his team. Last year, you have Marcus Mariota, you become a spread team. This year, he went to Melvin Gordon. What do you like best? We want to get him comfortable to create runs in an offense that will accentuate the positives of Melvin Gordon and, of course, of Phillip Rivers.
Well, one thing on this San Diego team, we talked a lot about what they've got to the table. They add a rookie fullback. Last name Watt. You may have heard that name in NFL circles. This one is Derek Watt. Yeah, he's a brother of JJ. TJ is another brother. He's at Wisconsin. Look at these pictures that the Watt family sent in. I mean, how great is this from the time growing up in Wisconsin? And so now Derek joins JJ in the league. And, of course, the symmetry, Derek was the fullback for Melvin Gordon at Wisconsin. So they're reunited here, and it's pretty cool. Thank you to Mrs. Watt for sending in those really cool photos.
Yeah, and Melvin Gordon is thanking Mrs. Watt as well because he's happy to have his, in all seriousness, he says, look, he's another set of eyes for me. He just sees things the way I do. I've got a great deal of comfort and chemistry with him. And Melvin Gordon said he's a very important part of what they're going to do this year. Derek Watt has impressed everybody in San Diego.
There is Watt. He will be back with his old friend Gordon. For now, a third down and long, 3rd and 12 for Mike Bercovici, the rookie from Arizona State. Stands in, tipped at the line. It's still caught by James Jones, who gets drilled and hangs on. And if you're wondering, yes, that's the longtime Green Bay Packer who makes the catch. He's trying to make this team.
James Jones had a productive year for the Green Bay Packers last year. 50 receptions, 890 yards, had a big average. So, yes, in his 10th year, still has some left. Phillip Rivers was telling us that the biggest challenge for James Jones, he played in the same offense for years in Green Bay. So a little bit of a different offense. He's had some, learning the system. But Rivers was excited to have an opportunity to throw to him. He didn't have that opportunity. But James Jones out here with Bercovici.
Bercovici sits, and the play fake, and he goes down. And Jones, it's funny, you talk about his production last year. Remember, Jordy Nelson got hurt. And so all of a sudden they're like, oh, we'll bring our old friend Jones back. He went to the Raiders. The Raiders didn't really work out, and then he had a big year. So still play.
No doubt he can still play, and he's a guy who's made a lot of catches, not just catches, but catches in big pressure situations. The game is not going to be too big for him. He's produced at the highest level. I think an NFL team would be fortunate to have him, and if the Chargers don't have him, someone else will.
Yeah, he'll get picked up if it's not here. 2nd down. Bercovici almost dropped the snap, and coming near side looking for Jones, but incomplete. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and long for the Chargers with 11:21 to go in the game from Minneapolis. 20-10 your score. So So good to have football back, John. Pam Oliver's on the sidelines today. John Lynch, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt. You don't normally wear sunglasses on a stadium that's inside, but this place is different. Translucent roof and plenty of glass around to let the sun come in. Very cool, very good work. Sitting on the place that used to have the Metrodome. Berkovici lets it fly way high. It's going to be intercepted. Jaron Kearse, the rookie safety, with some room to run and a good return all the way down to the Charger 38.
We were talking with Mike Zimmer about the free safety battle. We talked about Griffin Zendeo. He said, don't forget about Jaron Kearse, and Jaron Kearse shows you why.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Samsung. Do more with the new Galaxy Note 7.
20-10, Vikings over the Chargers. 11:09 to go. Football back on Fox. Preseason action, regular season in 2 weeks. Get ready for it. And we'll get a little handoff here from Minnesota after the interception return. Let's go to the Chargers sideline. That's where Pam Oliver has Phillip Rivers.
Phillip, one of the things you guys have talked about just moving forward is the kind of team you're going to be when you take the field. You're going to work hard. You're going to do all sorts of different kinds of conditioning. Give us an idea about some of the steps you guys took to be the team you want to be.
Yeah, we talked a lot about playing hard, tough, and together, and just kind of making that our mantra and our personality. We had some pieces in free agency, obviously in the draft, and just the group of guys we've had here. I think we've gotten accomplished what we want to, training camp and preseason, and now we build 2 weeks away here from the opener in Kansas City.
What are you seeing in Melvin? I know you said it seems like he's trying to get it.
I think
specifically how?
Yeah, well, I see him getting more and more comfortable. You know, he's caught a touchdown now in the preseason. He broke the run today, and those things just build confidence. A young back, he had some injuries last year. He turned it over a few times, but he's had a great offseason. He looks healthy. He just seems comfortable and confident, and that's big for a running back.
Do you have any idea what kind of team you're going to be?
Well, obviously we're coming off a rough season, but every year's new. You know, Brandon Mebane wasn't on last year's team. Matt Slauson wasn't on last year's team. So this team has never won or lost a game together. That's the way I look at it. Every season's new. We believe we can win a division. That's our goal every year, and now we just got to go make it happen.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks. Hey, Gunner.
Thank you.
Good stuff, Pam, with Phillip Rivers, who's as good as they come in this league. Sometimes you look back at draft classes, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. You know, it happens. Especially quarterbacks are so hard and so hit and miss. And then you go back to Phillip Rivers, and I'd say that class worked out, to say the least. And the only reason he is not always mentioned with the other likes of Roethlisberger and Eli is because he hasn't won a Super Bowl. And that's not entirely his fault. He's had a wonderful career, 13 years in the league. This is Ham on first down. So you're talking about that draft class. It was 2004. Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger in the top 11. And you look at their numbers. That's some pretty good numbers right there by that class.
Incredible. Phillips played some incredible football. I will tell you, it's a shame that team that he played with, 05, 06, that offense was so loaded. You're talking about Antonio Gates,
yes,
LaDainian Tomlinson, Nick Hardwick, Lorenzo Neal, as good a fullback as ever played the game. They were just loaded, and a handful to play against. Phillip was leading them.
Good throw by Stavi. Down inside the 10 to the rookie Treadwell.
But as we mentioned earlier, he still looks like the same guy, plays like the same guy, and there's no question about it that his love and passion for the game is still there. So I think still years to come for Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, he certainly looks that way. Now we'll see if he can get enough help and will this team into the mix in the AFC West, which should be one of the better divisions in football. And so after that completion to Treadwell, you're looking at a 1st and goal for Minnesota. Ham in the backfield, number 30. Give it to him. And he gets a couple blocks. He's down to the 7. He picks up 3 on that first down. Of course, we watch C.J. Ham run, and he's a guy that's trying to make a team, and a team that's got some running backs. I know they've got the guy who led the league in rushing again last year, and Adrian Peterson.
Jerick McKinnon looked good today.
Did.
Asiata's a good player. They've got a lot of depth. Kind of a trend in this league. Running backs get hurt, and so people are stockpiling their running back positions.
2nd and goal. Ham one more time. Gets down to the 5. So a 3rd and goal from the 5 coming up. And the thing that you touched on earlier in the game, John, is with having that depth. And they do use all the running backs, but you said they want to use it more. And the reason is because Peterson, as great as he is, still had the most carries in the NFL last year.
And they want to extend his career, and they also want him fresh when it matters most in November, December, in the playoffs. Now, Adrian Peterson, he will tell you, don't limit my carries. I want every single one of them. That's why I train so hard. That's why I work. Truly one of the greatest players this league's ever seen.
3rd and goal for Stave and company. Firing incomplete. I was looking for Patterson. I'm not sure he would have got in anyway. He was a little shy of the end zone. So 4th and goal, and that'll be a chance for their kicker, Blair Walsh. So Blair Walsh will come on, try a 23-yard field goal. He's got a 23-yarder and a 33-yarder today. Trying to extend the Minnesota lead. And he does just that. 3rd field goal of the day for Walsh. 23-10 the score.
Well, Kevin, being here in Minnesota reminds me so much of a great friend, a great man who we lost recently too early, and that's Dennis Green. He was my coach at Stanford, coached the Vikings for 10 years, 8 of those years in the playoffs. An excellent molder of men, excellent leader, and just a tremendous human being. And Coach Green, rest in peace. We'll miss you. Everybody here in Minnesota certainly misses you, and I miss you.
23-10, Vikings over the Chargers, 6:24 to go in Minneapolis. Glad to have you aboard. Little doubleheader of preseason action. Game 2 in Houston, Cardinals, Texans. Joe, Troy, and Aaron got the call coming up after this on that one. Kickoff time, Walsh gets that one out of the end zone. Start on the 25, and we'll be back to show it to you in just a minute. The Vikings in front here in the 4th.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Please walk to right now.
College football is back on FS1. It all kicks off special Friday night edition. Heisman hopeful Christian McCaffrey leads 8th-ranked Stanford against K-State. It begins Friday night at 8 Eastern on FS1. That will be fun to get back into it as Berkovici comes up firing to San Diego, and he's going to have a completion. It's Rasheed Bailey coming on to make the catch.
And that throw looked a little more indicative of the praise that Berkovici's been getting. A couple errant ones earlier. I tell you, sometimes you come into these preseason games, the NFL balls. Remember, those officials, particularly these days, they're holding on to them, and you don't see them until they're slippery off. And Berkovici, I think, getting used to that.
Yeah. Made a good throw. The last one, this is Dreamus Smith, who's had the bulk of the carries. Ooh, we have... an injured Charger down on the field, and that is Smith. We already saw Brandon Oliver, their running back, go out. McAdoo, the new coach, taking over after Tom Coughlin was there for years, won a couple Super Bowls, and they added a lot on defense, but sometimes that always doesn't just gel right away.
Yeah, you would think, though, you know, the third year now in that offense that Ben McAdoo brought in, that Eli Manning continues to feel more comfortable, get Victor Cruz back healthy. You would think there's going to be improvement there. And this defense, they've got the resources now. We'll see what they can do.
Third down for San Diego. Blitz coming. Berkovici stands in, low throw. Going other side of the field. Just couldn't get enough mustard to get it out there.
You talked about the Rams back in L.A. Remember, it was for a long time assumed to be the Chargers that were going.
Yes.
I think they picked, I know, in fact, they picked the right team. The excitement in the Los Angeles area. Wow. Unbelievable how excited these fans are for the Rams. A lot of holdover fans that are still there from when they left for St. Louis. So happy to have football back in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and Case Keenum's going to start the year at quarterback for them. Their rookie Jared Goff has not had a great preseason, and I think they prefer the number 1 overall pick to sit and learn for a little bit before they throw him in there. So we know one thing, Rams will have their work cut out for them with Seattle and Arizona in that division. Teddy Bridgewater and Mike Zimmer. That's a good combo, hoping to lead this team to big things. AFC headlines. Well, here's where we start. Who quarterbacks the defending champs? I think we have a better answer after last night, that's for sure, for the Broncos. Will Luck return to top form? Question after watching last night is, will he stay alive behind that offensive line? And then, is Tom Brady out the first 4 games from the suspension? And how are the Patriots going to react with Garoppolo at quarterback? That will be some storylines to watch in the AFC, which we dive into after this, with Stave leading the Vikings, keeping their own territory on first down. So let's start with the Denver Broncos. You know that team well. You play for the Denver Broncos, and I remember when we watched practice last year, we were doing a game, he said, watch this kid that can throw the ball. That kid was Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, Trevor Siemian can flat out throw the football. Very natural thrower of it. But I tell you, Siemian, it looks like is going to start, but he's just sitting, holding the spot at the dinner table for Paxton Lynch. I have been thoroughly impressed by Paxton Lynch. I think he's got big-time upside to him and the potential. He's 6'7", tremendously athletic. He's going to be a fabulous quarterback. The Broncos hope that they put Siemian in there and he holds on, because that would mean they're having success.
No question about it. As the Vikings going to keep it on the ground to Jarrell Presley. So, how about Andrew Luck? You know, he got the richest contract in NFL history, and he got just beat up last year, John, behind an offensive line that had some issues, and then Luck had injuries, threw a lot of interceptions, wasn't his normal self. How about Andrew Luck now, behind a humongous contract, trying to live up to that?
Well, look, Andrew Luck is a tremendous player. I think Andrew Luck sat back last year. Watch Matthew Hasselbeck, quarterback that team, spread the football, get rid of the ball, and he told us he learned a ton from that. And I think that's something he's got to incorporate into his game. There'll be a time to be the hero and use that huge stature, but he's got to protect himself. Hopefully they've solidified that offensive line a little bit to help him out.
And a timeout called by Minnesota, with a 3rd and 4 staring them in the face. And then you've got the Patriots, as we told you, without Brady, so they turn to Jimmy Garoppolo for the first 4 games, and that'll be just weird to see him without Brady at quarterback.
Yeah, it really will be. But they're the New England Patriots. I mean, you want to pump the balls up, you want to deflate them, they're going to win football games. That's what they do. Tom Brady's been a big part of that, but they are a football team, and I think they'll show, and a lot of people say, and you believe, if they can just get out of there 2-2, I started looking at that schedule, favorable schedule early on, they may well come out of that 3-1, You give a 3-1 lead to Tom Brady, he's your closer. He'll bring you home.
Yeah, that would be the time to get the Patriots, that's for sure. If you're in that AFC East, the Bills and the Dolphins or the Jets, see if they can do it. Third down. After the timeout, keep it on the ground, and that is not going to go anywhere. Presley has stopped. Nick Dzubnar was there on the tackle. A little under 3.5 to go in this fourth quarter.
Dzubnar, the special teams leader for the Chargers in tackles last year in his rookie season. Out of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, their special teams. Demon last year really came in and elevated that special teams with his play.
And so a fourth down and a punting situation. Locke would punt it away. High short kick. Fair catch, call for fumbled, and it's picked up by Minnesota. Would you look at this? It's a muff, so you can't advance it. That's a shame because Terrell Sinkfield thought he was going to have 6. Instead, he'll have to bring it back to the spot of the fumble.
Touch the ball.
Listen, it's regular season 2 weeks away. I got a little excited there too, John. I'm sorry. I'm ready for football.
Broadcasters need the preseason too.
Listen, I stumbled on my own words about 10 times today.
Help us, Mike Pereira.
Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon premieres September 6th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, and it's only on FS1.
I tell you what, I've tried to debate with Shannon Sharp. You don't win many of those. I think he's going to have a lot of people rooting for him.
So they are looking at this play. They're reviewing this play. So while they do, we will review a commercial. How about that?
Let's go.
For some reason, they're just looking to see if this was out of bounds. But, I mean, he dropped the ball well before his foot got out of bounds. So they're just double-checking. You know, listen, you got a preseason to review, too, right?
And make sure that stuff works under the hood.
I mean, it's preseason for everyone. There's 2:38 to go. Well, it should be Vikings football right there, the 48. Hey, John, you know, I want to say it's great to be back. Fourth year together with our crew here, and it's so good to be back with football. But we are losing one great member of our crew, Brian Dwyer, who is technically listed as one of our computer stats guys, but there is no scope to put on a title for what he has done for us for the last 3 years, and it's going to be tough without him. We're going to miss you.
After review, the ruling on the field has been changed. Once the San Diego player touched the ball, he then stepped out of bounds. His other foot then touched the ball. When a player is ruled out of bounds, then the ball is dead by rule at that spot. It will be San Diego's ball, 1st and 10 on the 48-yard line. Clock operator, will you reset the clock to 2:42? 2:42.
Oh, so that's what happened. That's a very... Didn't see that, John, on the first replay.
Nor did I.
Wow, good catch.
Thank you.
I mean, literally the cleat touched that football. He's out of bounds. That there makes it a dead ball in San Diego's ball. And Mike Zimmer's going, wait, what the heck's going on here?
John Hussey and Dean Blandino and the crew back in New York on their A game. That was good work. Didn't see that foot touching. So it is San Diego's football. But anyway, Bride, we'll miss you. Good luck. Buddy. I think before he leaves, he will print out your boarding pass for the way.
He does every week. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, man. As the pass is completed. And the catch is made by Rasheed Bailey. Today's game directed by Artie Kepner, produced by Pete Macheska. And it's well done by our entire crew being back together. We're going to get a face mask here on Daron Curse.
Personal foul. Defense. Face mask. 15, half the distance to the goal. Number 27. Automatic. First down.
Associate Director today, Eric Mandia. Tyler Dare, our BA. TD, Clyde Taylor. And Technical Director, Vince Hutchinson. Jeff Nelson and Mitch Smith up here in the booth with us. John, Bill Harmon. Couldn't do without all these guys and gals. Going to the end zone. Alexander. Almost. The rookie got his mitts on it, just couldn't haul it in.
Now, Mackenzie Alexander, a second-round draft choice this season that Mike Zimmer and the Vikings are extremely high on. They think he's really going to become a good player, but there's a reason he's playing cornerback and not receiver. He needs to work on those hands, but Mackenzie Alexander, he's got everything you want as a corner, and Mike Zimmer talks about him. The best thing he has, the guy loves to compete. Doesn't want a ball caught on him.
Second down and 10. Berkovici tipped again. He was firing for the end zone. Andrew Sendejo was there to get a piece of that one.
You know, interesting, Kevin. I think kind of a model. This is a copycat league, as Mike McCoy said yesterday, a league of thievery. I think John Elway figured out people are throwing more than ever. Get strong on the perimeter. It used to be strength down the middle. Strong on the perimeter and multiple corners. The Broncos go 4 corners deep that could start on most teams. I see the Vikings really trying to emulate that, drafting Mackenzie Alexander when they're already exceptionally deep at corner.
And this is taken away.
Because I don't think any of that taunting, and it does trickle down to the younger guys in football. But I tell you, the day somebody gets ejected, but Mike Zimmer, he's telling them right now, nice job, but don't ever do that again on my football team.
That's a way to learn it, for sure. So he made the play, learns the lesson. 2-minute warning. Vikings in the lead.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
We have got 2 minutes to go here from Minnesota. Vikings football, they lead 23-10. And a reminder, game 2 of our doubleheader coming up from Houston. It's the Texans and the Cardinals. Football back on a Sunday on Fox. Looks good to me. Look at the Vikings team that won this NFC North last year. I think people forget about that, John. You know, they won 11 games. They beat the Packers. In the regular season finale to win the division. Of course, the heartbreaker first-round loss to Seattle. Here's what they got to start the year. At Tennessee, who should be in a football team, and then they open this building officially against Green Bay on Sunday night, and then Carolina. That's no easy task.
Not at all. I mean, Tennessee is playing really good football. This exotic smash mouth, they're calling it down there in Tennessee under Mike Mularkey. And Chad Greenway, we're talking to him on the field. We cannot sleep on them. Green Bay, what a way to open this up during the regular season. And then Carolina Panthers, as talented a football team as there is in this league.
They sure are. That is not an easy start for this Vikings team. He's got a lot of high expectations, as that'll move the chains, and that should probably do it. Adrian Peterson did not play, will not play in their final preseason game, but will play week 1.
No doubt about it. And, you know, it was interesting talking to Mike Zimmer. We talked about what he's most excited about with this team, and he spoke of the improved offensive line. Well, his biggest concern, he said, is managing those expectations. Yes. And to him, he's not afraid of embracing that as a team, but also a very, very young team, and telling these guys, we've done nothing yet. We got to go prove it this year.
They will take a knee. I think Pam will go catch up with Adrian Peterson when this is over and get his thoughts on the first game here in this Vikings team. It's Teddy Bridgewater. Well, that's the story for Minnesota. He played the first half, and he looked really good. 12 of 16, 160 yards and a touchdown after missing. In the last game with a little shoulder thing. Vikings fans have to feel good about what they saw from him today. And for San Diego, their second-year running back, Melvin Gordon, had a down rookie year.